Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope everybody has been able to join the class by now. I can see 18 participants, and some of you are still trying to join in, but we cannot wait any longer. We have to start. And today we are going to talk about the third poem. First two poems were discussed earlier. If you have any questions from the first two poems, please go ahead and ask. कोई सवाल है पुरानी poems में से तो please पूछ ले. Okay, since there is no question, nobody has asked any questions, so we'll move forward. Okay, so the poem is called A Cow and a Goat, and it is again adopted for children. And there is a conversation between the cow and a goat. Now, it's not a common tendency or common characteristic for animals to talk to each other, but just like fable tradition, these poems they're also using animal characters as their mouthpieces, as human feelings and actions and reactions are being represented, but these animals are being used. So, this is a classic and prime example of personification where human tendencies, characteristics are attributed to non human characters. There was a verdant pasture somewhere. Now, if you look at the first five or six lines, you'll find that it's mere description of nature. So there was a verdant pasture somewhere. Verdant pasture means a green field. There was a lot of grass and a wild look is being represented. यानी greenery है हर जगह. So there was a verdant pasture somewhere whose land was the very picture of beauty. How can the beauty of that elegance be described? Brooks of sparkling water were running on every side. Brooks are basically the streams of water जहाँ से पानी आ रहा होता है जहाँ से वाइल्ड लाइफ जो है वो पानी पी सकती है. So all those four lines that I've just read for you, they represent how it is so beautified. The scene, the image is such a beautiful natural imagery that it is very difficult to describe it. Furthermore, there is, brooks of water. There is this picture of beauty, and there is this greenery everywhere. And it is beautiful and refreshing. अब आगे देखिए further the description is added. Many were the pomegranate trees, as so were the shady peepal trees. Cool breeze flowed everywhere. Birds were singing everywhere. So some of the trees were of a fruit called pomegranate. So it provided a reddish background. A red color was introduced. And then there was shady peepal trees that were also. Now, what are these trees? These are the longer trees. जैसे सरू का दरख्त कहते हैं पाकिस्तान में जो बहुत लंबे होते हैं और they can provide shade. So these shady people trees were also there. and cool breeze was there, refreshing birds were there, there was singing. So, all in all, a very beautiful description of nature is being represented in the first seven or six lines, where the poetic persona is not speaking at the moment, but a narration is provided, a third person narration is provided to set the tonality and the background of the entire poem. Then comes our first character. A goat arrived at a brook's bank from somewhere. It came browsing from somewhere in the nearby land. As she stopped and looked around, she noticed a cow standing by. The goat first presented her compliments to the cow, then respectfully started this conversation. Again, all these highlighted lines, it's these are the narration points where the writer of the poem is using his ability to actually talk about what exactly happened. And the rest of the poem that we are going to study is a conversation, a dialogue between a cow and a goat. So, who starts the conversation? The goat starts the conversation. Now, goat says, "How are you, Madam Cow?" So, because Madam Cow is called a Madam here by goat, so we'll call it she. यानी हम cow के लिए जो pronoun use करेंगे अब से, that will be she. The cow replied, "Not too well. My life is mere existence." Now, this line is not exaggeration, but it creaks out or it loudly represents that the cow is not happy and her life is without any joys. So it's just an existence and nothing more. My life is complete agony. My life is in danger. What can I say? My luck is bad. What can I say? I'm surprised at the state of affairs. I'm cursing the evil people. So she's of the view that her life is a mere existence for the benefits of the others, and she feels agonized. She is in constant pain. And she's furthermore, she's confused where she asks multiple times, what can she say? She also considers her luck to be a bad one because her affairs are, or her state of affairs are not intact, and she's cursing evil people. Later on, we'll get to know who these evil people are. The poor ones like us are powerless. So that binary of us versus them, the concept of slavery versus the master, that concept of periphery and center is being represented over here, where a character feels like that they are powerless. And she has also included goat into the conversation, that people like you and me, the poor ones like you and me, they suffer the consequences of powerlessness. Misfortunes surround the ones like us. None should nicely deal with men. So she considers that all her agony, misery, and hardships they come from because of they come from mankind, from the unkind behavior of mankind has brought this injustice, problems in the life of animals and characters, the poor ones like them. May God protect us from man. So it's a prayer. She pleads indirectly to God that may God protect us. पहले वो सिर्फ अपनी बात कर रही थी, लेकिन अपनी बात करने के बाद एक या दो लाइनों बाद she started talking about the goat as well and her kind as well, जिसमें ये सारे livestock आ सकती है. And it is true, there are certain animal activists out there who believe that we should not be eating cows and goats and any other meat material because we are taking a life away, and much more. But people who do not believe in this concept, they know that everything that God has created has a purpose to serve. उसका एक एजेंडा है, उसका एक लाइफ में रोल है जो उसे फुलफिल करना है. And animals are no different. Although this poem is part of fable and wisdom literature, and it is supposed to teach the audiences whosoever is reading these stories and poems, be wise, be motivated, be able to see the darkness in the people, that how dark they could be, और ये सब कुछ देखना यानी सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन सिखाना इसका मकसद है. Then he murmurs, he represents mankind. He murmurs if my milk declines. He sells me if my weight declines. He subdues us with cleverness. Murmur का मतलब ये होता है कि the human beings, they start uh, you know complaining that the animal is not providing proper amount of milk. For example, I think 1 year ago or 6 months ago, um, मेरे घर भी इसी तरह से ये गाय भैंस का दूध आता है. कहीं थोड़ा सा दूर है, कहीं स्लम है जहाँ उन्होंने ये एनिमल्स रखा हुआ है और वो बेचते थे. पर इवेंचुअली द लाइफ स्टॉक, शी वॉज नॉट वेल. She had a tumor of some kind, but they didn't help her. They didn't get her treated. For years, they made a lot of money because of her milk. They used her, calves as well. उनको भी सेल ऑफ कर देते थे, उनको भी अपनी माँ के साथ नहीं रहने देते थे. लेकिन जैसे ही उसे कोई कॉम्प्लिकेशन हुई, that she couldn't become a mother anymore, or she couldn't give milk anymore, so what did they do? They ate her, मतलब उसको काट कर ज़िबा करके वो खा गए. या sometimes I've seen abandoned animals as well, कि उन्हें खत्म, मतलब उनकी जब यूटिलिटी खत्म हो जाए तो उन्हें सड़क पे मरने के लिए भी छोड़ देते. ऐसा मोस्टली डोंकीज के साथ हो रहा होता है, हॉर्सेस के साथ हो रहा होता है, क्योंकि उनको हम खाते नहीं है, लेकिन ये जो भेड़ बकरियां हैं, काउज हैं, उनको हम खा लेते हैं. तो what I'm trying to insinuate over here, that humankind is selfish. Humankind is self-centered. There is the streak of not being able to see beyond their own needs. ऐसा नहीं है कि हम सभी ऐसे हैं, लेकिन collectively, majorly, most of the humans, they are like that. कि utility खत्म, तो they subdue them with cleverness. Subdue का मतलब they try to oppress them or control them or marginalize them. Alluring, he always subjugates us. Subjugation means to sideline or to dominate or enslave. So these lines are very powerful, where the cow thinks that she has been wronged by human race because she has listened to the complaints when she was not able to provide them with milk. She also knows that if her weight will decline, she will be left alone to die on the streets, or she will be cut into pieces to be eaten and consumed. तो उसको अपना limitation of existence पता है. I nurse his children with milk. I give them new life with milk. My goodness is prepaid with evil. May my prayer to God is for mercy. Then she further pleads her case. She further states that she has always provided with the comfort, nurturing, and nurturing properties to humans and their children, but her goodness, her devotion, her trustworthiness is repaid with utter evilness. So she further again, just like this line, may God protect us from man. She also says, my prayer to God is for mercy. She does not want to rely on human beings. She doesn't understand the human beings because she believes that they are very, very unfair to him, to her, or to them, of course. Okay, having heard the cow's story like this, the goat replied, now we have just read about the outburst of the cow. That is an emotional outburst where She believes that her existence is just an existence and she doesn't have a meaningful purpose. She feels betrayed, she feels used, violated, and she doesn't feel at home at all. अब गोट जो है अगेन वो एक बात करेगी कॉन्वर्सेशन को आगे लेके चलेगी. So the court says this complaint is unjust. Though truth is always bitter, I shall speak what is fair. This pasture and this cool breeze, this green grass and this shade, such comforts were beyond our lot. Lot over here is the kind. अब गोट भी अपने आप को पूरी कॉन्वर्सेशन में ऐड करते हुए शी इज saying that this is a very unjust complaint that you have just proposed and voiced because I only speak the goat only speaks the truth and it knows that the truth is bitter but it'll say it anyway. Then goat being logical, a logical character, it enlists the goodness or the goods that a human being has provided them with. This pasture and this cool breeze, this green grass and this shade, such comforts were beyond our lot. So if they are left alone in the wild, they will definitely become um, a victim of harsh weathers, circumstances. They might become a prey of some wild animal. सो गोट कह रहा है कि हमारे लिए ये सब कुछ इतना इजी नहीं था. They were a far cry for us speechless poor. We owe these pleasures to man. We owe all our happiness to man. We derive all our prosperity from him. What is better for us, freedom or bondage to him? So then the goat is of the view that these happinesses, this comfort, this atmosphere was beyond our capacities if we were living in the detached world in the wilderness. But what is better for us? The question is a rhetorical one, of course, and it wants the audience and the other character, that is cow, to think about it. That what is better for them? The bondage, the linkage, or the freedom? Hundreds of dangers lurk in wilderness. Yani there are so many, issues and problems and dangers available hiding in the darkness, in the wilderness. May God protect us from that विल्डरनेस. ठीक है. काऊ कहती है इंसानों से अल्लाह बचा ले. गोट कहता है कि उस विल्डरनेस से बचा ले. We are heavily indebted to him. Unjust is our complaint against him. If you appreciate the life's comfort, you would never complain against man. ठीक है. तो जो ये सारी डिस्कशन, जो सारा डायलॉग गोट बोलता है वो बहुत लॉजिकल है. गोट इज बीइंग लॉजिकल एंड ही सेइंग दैट if they take away things from us, they also provide us with such comfort, safety, food, and much more. So he believes that they should be indebted, they should be forever grateful to humankind because they have provided them with this safety and food and etc. Hearing all this, the cow felt embarrassed. She was sorry for complaining against man. She mused over the good and the bad and thought fully. She said this: small though is the body of the goat, convincing is the advice of the goat. So the last line, two lines, are again a moral statement. They're also aphoristic moral statement, and of course the line automatically states that no matter the size of the goat and smallness of the goat, whatever he has said does make sense. Now we have certain symbols in it, we have certain themes, and imagery is there. So if we talk about the symbols, the first symbol is cow. Cow symbolizes or represents oppression, marginalization, enslavement, and definitely she also represents internal and external conflict. Then we have the goat. अब goat के जो conversation है उससे हमें पता चलता है that he symbolizes logic, practical wisdom, and a very balanced thinking. He believes in give and take, and he understands the concept of give and take. Then नेचर्स इमेजरीज है जहाँ पर पास्चर की मल्टीपल टाइम बात होती है, एक शुरू में होती है और देन बाद में होती है. So pasture and all that greenery or description of greenery symbolizes comfort, home, peaceful living conditions, safety, belongingness. ये सारे हमारे जो हैं ये रिप्रेजेंट करती हैं, ये लाइंस रिप्रेजेंट करती हैं, सिंबलाइज करती हैं. देन विल्डरनेस represents danger and struggle. उसके बाद if we talk about the imagery, we have nature's imagery जो कि हमारी पहली लाइन में है, एंड पर भी है. Warden pasture is there, sparkling brooks is there. The trees are there, pomegranate trees and people, shady people trees are there. Birds are singing, cool breeze is there. Then we have emotional imageries as well, where the cow says, "My life is mere existence, my life is complete agony, my life is in danger, my luck is bad." ये सारी जो लाइंस हैं ये इमोशनल इमेजरी को रिप्रेजेंट करती हैं. ठीक है. फिर वो जहाँ पर ये भी कहती है कि मिसफॉर्च्यून्स सराउंड अस. तो ये सारी लाइंस जो है इमोशनल अपील को, इमोशनल इमेजरी को रिप्रेजेंट करती हैं. फिर उसके बाद कंट्रास्टिंग इमेजरी भी है, वेयर पास्चर एंड विल्डरनेस इज बीइंग रिप्रेजेंटेड एंड कंपेयर्ड इन कंट्रास्ट. काउ एंड गोट, both of them are different characters, they are being compared in contrast. And it is also a comparison between a complaint and rationality. कंप्लेन कौन करती है? काउ. और रैशनल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू शेयर करता है गोट. एंड लास्ट लाइन जो है वो हमारा मॉरल मैसेज इनकम्पास करते हैं, जिसमें वो कहता है कि स्मॉल दो इज द बॉडी ऑफ द गोट, convincing is the advice of the goat. So wisdom is not specifically related to side and status. It is it is something that comes from within, and one should not complain about things blindly without even looking at the other side, because difficulties can only be resolved with recognition, um, and balance is important. और हर सिचुएशन में everybody should be treated the same. As far as themes are concerned, the theme we have gratitude versus complaint, dependency and product protection. We also have balanced thinking. Perspective matters. We have two different perspectives. One is of the cow, the other one is of the goat. और इसमें and wisdom can come from any source. It doesn't have to be a big grandiose source or a bigger person. It could come from a small creatures like goat as well. अब देखिए काउ और गोट का कंपैरिजन करें तो काउ तो कदरे बड़ी है साइज में, लेकिन जो लॉजिकल बात की है वो गोट ने की है. तो अगर हम इनको ह्यूमन कैपेसिटीज के साथ जोड़ने की कोशिश करें तो हम भी ऐसे ही हैं. वी आर अनथैंकफुल, वी आर नॉट ग्रेटफुल, एंड हमें ग्रैटिट्यूड शो करते हुए इशू होता है. वी टेक थिंग्स फॉर ग्रांटेड. ठीक है. सो पर्सोनिफिकेशन तो पोएम में है ही, बिकॉज एनिमल्स आर टॉकिंग टू ईच अदर. हाइपरबोली इज देयर, दैट इज द एग्जैजरेशन. जैसे काऊ कहती है ना कहीं पे, जहाँ पर वो कहती है माई goodness is repaid with milk, with evil. That is mere hyperbole. That is not the, मतलब वो प्रॉपरली पूरा सच नहीं है, वो उसके सोचने का पर्सपेक्टिव है जिसको डिसमेंटल कर देता है, डिनाई कर देता है गोट लेटर ऑन. टोन की बात करें पोएम में, तो पोएम की जो टोन शुरू में है वो पीसफुल है, काम है, बिकॉज नेचर्स डिस्क्रिप्शन इज देयर. देन काउ की स्पीच जब आती है तो जो टोनालिटी है वो सैड और कंप्लेन की तरफ चली जाती है बिकॉज ऑफ द काउ स्पीच. फिर उसके बाद जब गोट की स्पीच आती है तो हमारा जो टोन है वो लॉजिकल एंड फिलोसफिकल हो जाता है पोइट का. एंड देन फाइनली जब वो यहाँ पर एक सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन करते हुए काउ एक आंसर देता है, सॉरी देती है, तो दैट बिकम्स अ रिफ्लेक्टिव एंड हम्बल a tone. So overall, the poem has a didactic reason and purpose behind it, and the tonality keeps on changing from peaceful, sad, logical to reflective tone. So that was the entire poem that I wanted to share with you. I hope you've understood most of it. Now we'll take a break of 5 minutes and then we move forward to the next one. Meanwhile, if you have any questions from this poem, you can ask it away. You may write those questions in the chat box so that I can answer those questions for you. Okay, since there are no questions, we'll move forward to the next poem. The poem is called The Birds Complain. Again, this is adopted for children. By the way, I would like to highlight that I've also posted some links जिसमें यही poems उर्दू में भी explain की जा रही हैं. Um, there is this professor who's talking about the deep and surface meaning of all these poems. तो आप उनको भी सुन सकते हैं, दोनों को सुनेंगे, that will make your understanding even more better. अब देखें, the birds complain. ठीक है, I am, now the bird has something to say and first person pronoun is being used. I am constantly reminded of the bygone times, those gardens spring, those chorus of chimes. Gone are the freedoms of our own nests, where we would where we could come and go at our own pleasure. My heart aches the moment I think of the bird's smile at the dew's tears, that beautiful figure, that Kamini's form, which sources of happiness is my nested did form. Now, the entire lines जो मैंने अभी आपको पढ़कर बताई, they are creaking loudly about nostalgia, sadness. A complaint is there, of course. The bird is not happy, and it is stating its status right now that freedom is gone, the good time have passed away, they are the bygone times, and the garden spring and the chorus of chimes. Spring can represent renewal, फ्रेशनेस और ऐसी चीज़ों को वो रिप्रेजेंट कर सकता है. और कॉरस ऑफ चाइम्स यानी नेचर में कुछ साउंड्स होते हैं. एक तो विंड चाइम्स होते हैं ना, जो आप डेकोरेशन के वैसे पर्पसेस के लिए घर के लिए खरीदते हैं. इसी तरह से यहाँ पर पोएट कॉरस ऑफ चाइम्स को लिखते हुए ऐसे रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है that how nature, birds singing, all of it, they came together and provided fresh, and it's no longer there because good times have passed. Basically, a bird has a certain requirement. They are supposed to be set free. They are supposed to be out in the wild to live their own life. But if they are incaptivated, enslaved, or captured, or imprisoned, that is probably something that they would feel. Then she says, the bird says, my heart aches the moment I think of the bird's smile at dew's tears. Now, birds and dew दोनों ही ना तो स्माइल कर सकते हैं ना ही रो सकते हैं. So this is the classic example of personification. अब यहाँ पे वो कहती gone are the freedoms of our own nests. ठीक है, नेस्ट क्या है? Their home. The bird's home or the house. The freedom is gone because it is behind the bars or imprisoned. The beautiful figure that Kamini's form. What's Kamini? Kamini is a poetic मूर्त. ठीक है, अब लिटरेचर में, हैंडक्राफ्ट में और ऐसी चीज़ों में जिसमें मूर्तियाँ बनाई जाती हैं, मूर्तें बनाई जाती हैं, उसमें एक पोएटिक फिगर होती है. दिस कैन रिप्रेजेंट delicacy, beauty, and it is supposed to be charming. Which source of happiness is my nest did come from? So the bird is of the view that the beauty of my nest came from this poetic figure, Kamini. It was as beautiful as Kamini. I do not hear those lovely sounds in my cage now. So we know for a fact that the bird is in a cage now, and he's not able to actually listen to all those nature's sounds, or she's not able to um, see or feel freedom at the moment. May it happen, so the bird is being wishful. May it happen that my freedom be in my own hands now. ठीक है? And again, this how unfortunate I am, tantalized for my abode I am. Tantalized matlab traumatized or uh, matlab कि bird has a desire to be at ease in the freedom, but it is tantalized. A bod means house. So the bird is of the view that it doesn't have a house and it is teased by desire, where wishfully it wants its happiness, its joy, its freedom in its own hands. But that is not exactly how the world works, not only in the animal realm but also in human society as well. यहाँ पे भी इस तरह से काम नहीं होता. Now, furthermore, if we go about it, now take a look at the lines that I've just told you for a moment and then we move forward. So the complaint is continuous. The bird is complaining and it is talking about how it has lost its nest and its freedom, and it is behind the cage now, and it cannot listen to the beautiful chorus of time. It cannot feel the spring in the garden. It doesn't feel the pleasure, and it can see that how and the bird's smile has turned into the dew's tears because everything in his world, in its world, has turned upside down. Then further, it is said, my companions are in the homeland and in prison I am. So then nostalgia is being represented where the bird is thinking about its companions, its bird flock, which is at home, which is at ease, but he is not. He is in the prison. Spring has arrived, the flower birds are laughing. On my misfortune in the dark house I am wailing. Wailing means crying. O God, to whom should I relate my tale of who? Who matlab a sad story. Tale of who is a sad story. I fear lest I die in this cage with this woo. So the bird is fearful uh, that it might just die alone in the misfortune of darkness in the cage without his companions by his side, and he's going to, he's still very much confused who to tell all of his sad story. Then, furthermore, the poem moves forward, progresses, says, since separation from the garden, the condition of my heart is such. My heart is vexing the grief, and my grief is vexing the heart. Now, this line is very important where the poet is using a very hard imagery to represent the pain the bird feels. अब heart को vex करेंगे तो that is going to be very destructive image to imagine, but that is exactly what is happening. So, since the bird is not able to go into the garden of life with his companions and his freedom, his heart is always aching and it is waxing with grief, and his grief is waxing his heart. It's a two-way process that he feels deep sorrow and sadness. Then he says, "O listeners, considering this music, do not be happy. This call is the wailing of my wounded heart. Of oh, the one who confined me, make me free. A silent prisoner I am, earning my blessing free." So a silent prisoner could represent that who can speak but they are not being represented or they are not being heard. So that is subaltern can speak but they won't be heard. And wounded heart is a metaphor, of course. He doesn't. The bird doesn't have an actual injured heart, but psychologically, the bird feels imprisoned and threatened and at the margins. So, all in all, the bird complained, he's singing, the bird is singing, and it is singing of its hardships and how it is not able to get back to its freedom, liberty, and nest, and how it feels nostalgia. It also feels being stuck between the realm where it doesn't belong, and it is also about the memory as well. So, tone, we have already established the point that it has nostalgic and pleadful, prayerful kind of tonality, जहाँ पर वो कहीं किसी न किस्म की plea ही कर रहा है, दुआ ही कर रहा है. Then moral lesson could be that freedom is priceless, and it has a didactic person, the purpose. The poem has a didactic purpose that um, value of own freedom and empathy for captivity is not something that we can establish, and nobody wants to stay in prison. That is a fact. Not only these characters but also humans, कोई भी कहीं stuck नहीं रहना चाहता है. So freedom is natural and captivity is artificial, and homesickness is a real feeling. Identity and belongingness is also a feeling that this bird represents. It's almost as if those people who live abroad and they think about their home all the time, and they feel like they do not belong to that western country, और उन्हें वो इन केज सा फील होता है, तो उस फीलिंग को होम सिकनेस या बिलोंगिंगनेस या आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस से रिप्रेजेंट किया जा सकता है. Then, furthermore, uh, the beau- there is a song being sung by this bird, but it's the false beauty of song. What sounds like music can be a hidden suffering. तो हमें जो sound गाने जैसा लग रहा है bird का chirping लग रही है, वो basically उसकी complaint है. So, all in all, the poem has certain images as well. For example, we have sounds imagery जहाँ पर वो use करता है chorus of chimes. ठीक है. These are the lovely sounds of nature. उसके बाद हमारे पास nature's imagery है where he talks about um, rain, dew, and all those things are being talked about. जैसे birds की बात करता है, flowers की बात करता है, तो वो सारी जो चीजें हैं. Spring has arrived, flower birds are laughing, that is nature's imagery. उसके अलावा of birds smile and dews cheers, all of these are nature's imagery. And then we also have dark imagery as well, जहाँ पर हमारे पास cage है और dark house है. उसके अलावा जो इम्पोर्टेंट बात है इसमें वो हमारे पास symbols हैं. Bird is a symbol of captivity, deprived liberty, and the bird also represents subjugation, oppression, and subdueness. And garden, spring, and buds, on the contrary, represent nature, natural life, prosperity, love, joy, companionship, home, and much more. And then cage, prison, dark houses, ये सारे जो words हैं they are used in the poem and they symbolize captivity, um, loss of happiness, and loss of rights as well. So human tendencies भी ऐसी हैं that they would put away people, they would put away the people in such a manner that they would feel captivated just like this bird. Basically, the poem has a background and it is about the Muslim captives at the hands of the oppressors or the British rulers. यार उस टाइम में जो झगड़े हो रहे थे, जो भी wars and battles हो रहे थे, उसकी बात हो रही है कि how human beings were captivated, imprisoned, and tortured just like this bird. The poem is very, very dense in that manner. So take a moment, take 2 to 3 minutes to think about it. If you have any questions, please post those questions in the chat box. Okay, so let's move forward to the next poem, which is called Man, the Wave of the River. It's quite complicated, so we'll just go ahead and take a look at it. The poem is called Man, and it's quite complicated. It's different than the rest of the poems that you have studied. It mentions about nature, how nature has certain facilities and secrets to keep from man, and man has yet to learn a lot about nature. Nature is mysterious. Nature is something that is not explicit, maybe explicitly और वाज़िया तौर पे जो हमें नज़र आ रहा है वही सच हो. Sometimes it's not so true because nature has so many secrets that humans they always crave for it. वो कहीं ना कहीं उसे ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं. Nature has played a strange and wanton joke. What's wanton? Wanton is a silly joke, a carefree joke. It's something that does not care about what is happening. यानी seriousness की कमी है. So nature has played matlab committed or considered against humans in such a manner that it feels like as if they are um, playing a joke against human beings. Nature has played a strange and wanton joke, making man a seeker of secrets, but hiding the secrets from his view. Now, his represents the entire human race. Whenever in these poems, man, the word is used, the poet is using it for the entire mankind, human race. So poetic persona is of the view, the narrator on the poem is of the view that nature has played a strange and funny and careless joke upon them, and it has brought in so many secrets for humans to find out, but they are not explicitly available for humans or their naked eye to witness and experience. The urge for knowledge gives him no rest. Human race is always subtly unrest or unsettled because human race wants to to know about nature, and that is what exactly is happening around us in the name of experimentation, in the name of development, in the name of future prosperity. Humans have always looked for certain secrets within the nature कि वो क्या कुछ कर सकते हैं. For example, some of you might be fitness enthusiasts और आप हो सकता है जिम करते हैं, अपने खाने का ख्याल रखते हैं, साफ सुथरा खाना खाते हैं. Then if you do that, then you know about प्रोटीन शेक्स पी जाती हैं. ब्रोकली एक ऐसी सब्जी खाई जाती है विच इज़ मैन मेड. ब्रोकली इज नॉट मेड थ्रू नेचर. इंसान ने उस पे कुछ जंगली पत्तों को और गोभी की किसी किस्म को मिलाकर खुद बनाने की कोशिश की है और बहुत सारी मेडिसिन्स बनाई हैं. सिंथेटिक ब्लड बन चुका है. हार्ट जो है वो एक्चुअली हार्ट नहीं है. हार्ट के अलावा एक बॉक्स में वो एक बीटिंग ऑर्नामेंट को रख सकते हैं. मतलब बॉडी के अंदर हार्ट नहीं है, उसके बाहर भी लोगों के पास हार्ट लगा हो सकता है. व्हाट इज दिस? दिस इज समथिंग दैट ह्यूमन they want to get one with nature. They want to not challenge perhaps, but they want to get ahead of nature and be able to defeat its complexity and bleakness. So they have no rest. They are not resting at all. They are doing their best to get that knowledge. हर किस्म की फॉर एग्जांपल आई नो एक अंकल हैं जहाँ कहीं पास में रहते हैं. छोटी सी उनकी एक दुकान है और वो पिछले 12 साल से मे बी मोर देन दैट ही इज वर्किंग ऑन that he is going to make electricity out of water and every household will be able to make electricity without paying a penny to government and इलेक्ट्रिसिटी प्लांट्स। तो उनके माइंड में एक अनरेस्ट और एक अनसेटलमेंट है कि वो चाहते हैं कि वो कोई तरीका इजाद कर लें कि उन्हें बिजली का बिल ना देना पड़े। सो this urge to know, this urge to discover a new methodology gives him no rest. So there are many reasons, there could be numerous reasons that can make a human or the human race very, very restless. But the secret of life remains undiscovered. No matter what and how progressed we are, no matter how much advancements humans have made, they are still very much far behind from nature's mysterious ways of working because secret of life still remains uncovered. However, there has been an attempt to preserve human thoughts यानी कॉग्निशन को प्रिजर्व करने की बहुत कोशिश की जा रही है at the moment. Have you seen that movie? It's called Frankenstein या ये नॉवल पढ़ा हो आप में से किसी ने? Any idea फ्रैंकेनस्टाइन कौन है?
No, ma'am.
अच्छा, शायद आपने ये सुना होगा, there was this experiment done by a doctor from Germany. What he did is that I think 2020 में या 2021 में he tried this. He took the body of a mentally नहीं brain dead person. Brain deaths भी हो जाती है जिसमें बॉडी सारा काम करती है लेकिन जो दिमाग में जो प्रेशर चाहिए होता है, जो बिजली चाहिए होती है या जो भी सर्किट चाहिए होता है दिमाग चलना, ब्रेन डेथ्स बहुत कॉमन है उन लोगों के लिए जिन्हें ब्रेन ट्यूमर्स होते हैं। Now what happened is that he found a man who was crippled, यानी जिनका दिमाग प्रॉपरली कॉग्निशन प्रॉपरली काम करता था लेकिन फिजियोलॉजिकली लोअर बॉडी, गर्दन से नीचे जितनी बॉडी है वो क्रिपल्ड थी, प्रॉपरली डेवलप नहीं थी। हैंड जेस्चर्स या जो बॉडी जेस्चर्स है वो बना नहीं सकते थे और बहुत मसाइल थे। ऑन द अदर हैंड देयर वाज अनदर मैन हु हैड बीन डिक्लेयर्ड ब्रेन डेड। तो उन्होंने कंसेंट लेकर, ब्रेन डेड जो लोग होते हैं उनको यूजुअली उनको लाइफ सपोर्ट से हटाकर फिर उन्हें नेचुरली उनकी डेथ आकर होना अलाउड कर देता है फैमिली भी और हॉस्पिटल भी, क्योंकि दैट इज टू मच वर्क। बहुत कम है कि लोग इस तरह की डेथ्स से वापस आते हैं, बहुत ही कम है। मूवीज में तो डेफिनेटली वापस आते हैं, रियल लाइफ में इट्स वेरी रेयर। आपने वो प्रिंस देखा होगा, एक प्रिंस जो 21 साल बाद उन्होंने वेंटिलेटर से उतारा तो he did die eventually. Then इंडिया में एक बच्चा था, उसको भी वो भी काफी आई थिंक 11 या पता नहीं 8 साल से लाइफ सपोर्ट पे था। उसका भी जब लाइफ सपोर्ट उतारा तो ही डाइड। अब इंसान ने कहीं ना कहीं डेथ को, मैं ये नहीं कहूंगी कॉन्कर कर लिया है, रोक लिया है, लेकिन उन्होंने दे फाउंड अ वे for body organs to work. So going back to the earlier example where a doctor tried to co-join a functional head with the functional body, और उन्होंने उन दोनों चीजों को यानी वो क्रिपल्ड इंसान के सर को और ब्रेन डेड इंसान की बॉडी को इकट्ठा जोड़ दिया एंड द मैन केम बैक टू लाइफ। यानी the man whose mind was working was able to control bodily movement, not properly like 100% नहीं था लेकिन he could definitely do it. But eventually after 6 or 8 months the candidate died of some complications. I think cancer हो गया था। यानी इंसान जो मर्जी कर ले एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम जहाँ अभी हम हैं, दे आर अनसेटल्ड और वो बहुत कुछ लाइफ को अनडिस्कवर करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। अब सिंथेटिक ब्लड बना लेना वो ही एक बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है। सिंथेटिक ब्लड मतलब फेक ब्लड। एक तो ब्लड है ना, मुझे ब्लड की जरूरत है तो ह्यूमन से ब्लड लिया जाए। अब उन्होंने कोई इस तरह से मिक्सिंग एंड मैचिंग करके ऐसा ब्लड बनाने की पूरी कोशिश वो कर रहे हैं जिसमें उन्हें ह्यूमन ब्लड की जरूरत ही ना पड़े। तो ये जो सारी चीजें हैं, ऑल ऑफ इट मेक्स द ह्यूमन रेस going on a rat race which is making them a wanton joke. No matter how hard they try, they'll always find themselves back to the square one because nature has so many secrets that a man a person, a human, cannot undiscover whatsoever. Wonder is at the beginning and at the end. So they're always, humans are always wondering. They're always in a sense of amazement and awe. यानी उन्हें क्यूरियोसिटी हमेशा रहती है. और जब आपको वंडर लस्ट लग जाती है या अगर आप वंडर करना शुरू करते हैं तो इमेजिनेशन हैज और लस्ट हैज नो बाउंड्री. आप कहाँ तक सोच सकते हैं. ठीक है, ये जो पैशनेट मर्डर्स आजकल हो रहे हैं, क्राइम रेट बढ़ गया है. पहले क्या होता था कि लोग सर्वाइवल के लिए शायद एक दूसरे को मारते थे, डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस में मर्डर होते थे, लेकिन अब तो इट इट हैज बिकम अ क्राइम ऑफ पैशन. कल या परसों आई वॉच्ड अ वीडियो, a TikToker, a lady was killed. She was a TikToker or something, and her husband killed her and then killed himself in front of their children. अब ये क्या है? हाउ इज दिस वर्किंग? चिल्ड्रन वर वेरी यंग, आई थिंक 10 साल का भी नहीं होगा. दो बच्चे उस वीडियो में उसके आसपास घूम रहे हैं और उसने अपनी ही सगी औलाद के सामने अपनी बीवी को और खुद को गोली मार ली. अब व्हाट इज दिस? This is not a crime of survival. This was not a necessity. This was a crime of passion, mental instability, और ह्यूमन लिमिटेशंस के. ह्यूमंस के पास इतना सा नहीं है, इतना कैपेसिटी नहीं है कि अगर कोई चीज आपके मुताबिक नहीं हो रही है तो लेट इट बी. लेकिन कंट्रोल इज समथिंग दैट ह्यूमंस डू वांट, एंड कंट्रोल कैन नेवर बी इन द हैंड्स ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग्स. No matter how falsely, badly they want to believe in it, there will always be some supernatural force working against them in such a manner जो उनके हाथ से ये कंट्रोल स्लिप हो ही जाता है. किसी न किसी तरह से वेस्टेज की तरफ वो चले ही जाते हैं. तो दिस वंडर is always at the beginning and at the end. What else is there in the House of Mirrors? House of Mirrors, where you can, self reflect. Humans, they have the capacity to self reflect, but they choose not to. They do not want to. They are always looking for something more. The wave of the river glides along. Glide matlab to take a sweep. यानी उसके साथ बहती है. So a human is not supposed to stop on a certain truth that they want to find. The human is supposed to be, or human race is supposed to be the wave of river, which does not wave for anyone. यानी पानी की फ्लो की तरह इंसान की सोच को, डेवलपमेंट को, सारी चीजों को चलते रहना चाहिए. ठीक है, तो ये नेचर इमेजरी को यूज करते हुए द पोइट इज मेकिंग श्योर, द पोएटिक persona, the narrator is making sure that we as audience and readers, we are wise enough, inspired enough to understand that we need to glide along with the water, with the river. The river follows its course to the ocean. So this can simply mean, metaphorically or rhetorically, that what is meant to be will happen eventually. जो आपकी किस्मत में है, जो आपके साथ होना है, जो आपने करना है, it is going to happen. It is bound to happen. It is inevitable. Such as the concept of death is inevitable. You cannot stop it. Even if the humans are trying, it's not still, they're not still able to stop it. The wind sweeps the cloud along, bearing them to its shoulder. The stars are drunk with the wine of fate. Now, this is important. This imagery is very important. This is the visual image in which we can think about, imagine about that the wind is, moving around with the clouds. It's sweeping around with the clouds and it has the burden on its shoulder. The stars are drunk with wine of fate. Now, wine is a kind of a drink that these, white people or people in the Western countries and in Pakistan even, it is, drank a lot. लेकिन यहाँ पर एक्चुअल शराब की बात नहीं हो रही. It is being talked about the fate. That fate is यानी आपकी destiny. So the stars are drunk. They are already very much puzzled and confused and bombarded with the fate that that has been decided for the human race. And light changed in the sky is present. The sky is unreachable to humankind. And the lie, that how many lies or so many lies they are changed up in the sky. The sun, a worshipper who gets up at dawn and calls out the message arise. So even the sun is a worshipper and it comes out of its darkness to disseminate light among masses to tell them to arise from their deep sleep. This is a visual imagery as well. This is a command image as well, where a sun, which cannot actually speak or worship, is being personified to be somebody. So it could simply mean that if you get up with sun, if you go with the flow, if you go with the nature's description and ups and downs and waking and sleeping, then you are in the right pathway. Is hiding in the western hills drinking a cup of reddish wine. All things delight in their very existence. So everything that is there in the hill, in the vine, in the sky, in the fate and the dawn, everything that nature has to offer has a delightful existence. They are drunk with the wine of being. They are still so complete within their own state of being, within the state of existence. But there is no one to drive away his sorrow. How bitter are the days of human or a man. Of course, all of these signals are there in the nature, but then there is nothing that can stop this misery for humankind that is there in out in the open. This has been translated by Mustansir Mir. ठीक है Mustansir Mir. So this is a complicated poem. All in all, the poem has one message that nature is above human capacities. It has everything, yet nothing can be done to it in the hands of human beings. Every existence has a limitation, and we must accept it. Sorry, we must accept it and go with the flow. There is visual, auditory, and complicated command imagery in it. There is personification, and there are um, the poetic persona is using nature's imagery to say or state its point of view, the perspective. So if you have any questions from this poem, please go ahead and ask. ओके, पेपर में बेटे मिड टर्म पेपर में you'll have two questions. The question could have sub parts. ठीक है, उनके मल्टीपल सब पार्ट्स भी हो सकते हैं, डायरेक्ट 15 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन भी हो सकता है. The trick is, the important point is not to write in PowerPoint slide manner, not to write in single line answers, not to write in bullet points, but to write in a descriptive and extensive manner. जितना ज़्यादा आप उसको properly explain करके लिखेंगे वो उतना ज़्यादा अच्छा आपको स्कोर आपको मिल सकता है. उसके अलावा एज फार एज द कंटेंट इज कंसर्न कि हमने अभी तक जो पढ़ा है दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ योर मिड टर्म. वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट. अच्छा, मैं आपको आपकी गूगल क्लासरूम भी एक दफ़ा दोबारा दिखा देती हूँ ताकि आपको आइडिया हो जाए हमने क्या क्या पढ़ लिया. दिस इज योर गूगल क्लासरूम. अगर if you pay attention closely, you'll see that I've posted the material in a certain uh, in classwork for. Okay, this is your Google Classroom. ठीक है, इसमें आप जब पीछे जाते हैं, you scroll down the classwork, you'll see that I have posted Introduction to Art, Literature and Culture. We had a thorough discussion about what is included in art, literature and culture, what is a fable and what are the characteristics of fables and wisdom literature. Then we also talked about the fables, the 5 or 6 fables by Aesop. They were discussed on campus, online, both in detail. Then we also talked about, we have just finished multiple poems from this booklet, Bange Dara. तो ये भी आपने इसमें देख लेनी है. अच्छा, इसी से रिलेटेड मैंने कुछ ऑलरेडी रिकॉर्डेड वीडियोस किसी और प्रोफेसर ने अपलोड की हैं, आप सुन सकते हैं. जो भी पोएम्स हमने पढ़ी हैं आप सुन सकते हैं. और इसके अलावा वी हैव टॉक्ड अबाउट द कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ द बर्ड्स and Seven Valleys, specifically in Hoopoe. This is your course content only. Although there should be more, और होना चाहिए था because हमने प्रॉपर आउटलाइन में जो चीज़ें हैं, एक या दो टॉपिक रह गए दैट वी कैन कवर आफ्टर मिड टर्म्स. एंड फॉर्चुनेटली इनफ फॉर योर क्लास व्हाट हैज़ हैपेंड इज दैट एवरीथिंग इज रिकॉर्डेड. यू कैन ऑलवेज, मैंने आपकी रिकॉर्डिंग्स, आपकी अटेंडेंस इस सेक्शन में, क्लास रिकॉर्डिंग में क्लियरली सब मेंशन कर दिया. ठीक है, तो जिस जिस एस्पेक्ट से हमने क्लासेस में डिस्कशन की है, आप दोबारा जाके बेटे इस रिकॉर्डिंग में वो नोट डाउन कर सकते हैं. तो जो कुछ गूगल क्लासरूम में पोस्टेड है सो फार is going to be part of your midterm examination, and the paper would be having 2 questions. There is no choice, there is no MCQ, there is no short question. Yes, there could be certain questions asking you to discuss, defend or define a certain terminology with exemplification. तो वो आपने उस तरह से, जैसे हम क्लास में भी आपसे मैंने शायद एक्टिविटी करवाई होगी, नहीं आपसे शायद नहीं कराई थी क्योंकि आप हैं ऑनलाइन वाला सेक्शन. तो आपने मतलब आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपने आर्ट, लिटरेचर, कल्चर को कैसे डिफेंड एंड डिस्कस करना है, प्लॉट क्या है, कुछ लाइंस जो मैं आपकी इन पोएम्स में हाईलाइट करती रहती हूँ उनको आपने माइंड में रखना है. और आपका पेपर जो है वो 1.5 आवर्स का है, वो आपने माइंड में रखना है कि उसको आप मीट कर सकें, कोई इशू ना हो और आप परेशान ना हो कि किस तरह से इसको लेकर चलना है. सो दैट वाज ऑल अबाउट योर मिड टर्म. और कोई क्वेश्चन हो तो बेटे पूछ लें. अच्छा, इसके बाद तो अब हम मिड के बाद ही मिलेंगे ना, इसके बाद तो आपकी आपका एग्जाम है, ऐसा ही है? 1 अप्रैल से आपका एग्जाम है. हाँ, आई थिंक सो. Okay, since there are no further questions, good luck for your midterm and I'll see you in the next class. Allah Hafiz, take
मैम
care. जी जी।
मैम पोइम और फेबल्स की समरी भी करनी होगी?
बेटे क्वेश्चन कोई भी मतलब ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आपने उसकी समरी लिखनी है, बट इट इज मैंडेटरी दैट you should know what is exactly happening in the poem. Until and unless you know what is happening in the poem, you won't be able to critically analyze it. तो एनालिसिस पर्पसेस के लिए आपको पता तो होना चाहिए, जैसे आज जो हमने एक पोइम पढ़ी गोट एंड काऊ वाली, तो उसमें जो कुछ हो रहा है वो तो आपको पता होना ही चाहिए. बट इफ द क्वेश्चन asks that the poem represents certain themes such as balance thinking is important, discuss, तो उसमें आप थोड़ा सा आइडिया दोगे कि पोएम में क्या बात हो रही है, फिर उसे कंपेयर एंड कंट्रास्ट और उसको क्रिटिकली एनालाइज करोगे. तो मतलब ऐसा सवाल नहीं होगा कि पोएम दी हो और आपसे कहा जाए कि इसकी समरी लिखें, ऐसा कोई डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन नहीं है. ठीक है.
ओके मैम, गॉट इट।
ऑल राइट जी, अल्लाह हाफिज.